Joining us now is the great Newt Gingrich, former House Speaker, Fox News contributor, author of March to the Majority. Newt, dear friend, welcome back. Newt, I want to talk to you about a couple things, but what about this TikTok story, okay? You're a man of the future. You're a futurist, and you've heard what Gordon Chang said, who's much smarter than I am about this. You've seen the goings-on in Washington. It looks like the time has come to break up. What do you think?
Well, I think it's essential that TikTok be brought under American control and that the Chinese be forced to sell it to an American company, and that the Chinese not be allowed to have any ties to that kind of social media. It's a simple matter of national security. Gordon is right. He's one of the great experts on this whole issue of how the Chinese wage war by a variety of societal means. And I'm hoping that the Senate will take it up. The House, I think, is going to pass it by a huge majority. And then Senator Schumer ought to get out of the way and allow the Senate to pass it. And President Biden, to his credit, has already said he would sign it. So I think this is a very important step in the right direction.
All right. Thank you for that. Newt, we have a full screen. There's a poll. I think it came from the Financial Times. It's very interesting how the Republican Party has changed and essentially morphing itself during the Trump years into a working folks party, working stiffs party, working class party. And it shows how the well-to-do people are moving away from the Democrats, away from Republicans, the old country club. They're going to the Democrats now, the elites. Low-income people, believe it or not, are moving back towards the Republican Party. And middle-class people have pretty much left the Democratic Party and have moved to the Republican Party. Now, I don't know that all this began under Mr. Trump, but he's given a big booster. What do you make of it, Newt Gingrich?
Well, I think that you have two different things going on at once. One, you have a tremendous performance failure by Joe Biden, whether you're talking about inflation or immigration or crime or fentanyl, you go down the list. And the result is people, just everyday normal people, go, this ain't working. I mean, it's not complicated. Biden's biggest drop in the last 3 months is with people under 30 who've suddenly begun to realize they're not going to get a good job. They can't afford to buy a car. They can't afford to buy a house. And Biden's policies are going to make them even poorer. So performance is part. The other part of it is values. A lot of the stuff the Democrats stand for is just plain weird. A simple example was happened at the State of the Union. Joe Biden correctly talked about an illegal immigrant killing a young girl in Athens, Georgia. Then the left reacted ferociously, and he backed off and said, oh, I shouldn't have used the word illegal. Well, the average blue-collar American has got common sense. You come across the border breaking the law, guess what? You're illegal. Trump may be on the verge of creating a Trump coalition to replace the Franklin Roosevelt coalition, which would truly be a profound historic shift. And the New York Times, of all places, did a poll 2 weeks ago, and they showed that the tremendous movement among Latinos, Asian Americans, African Americans, and the point you made, Larry, is exactly right. Blue-collar workers, middle-class workers are all shifting towards the Republicans. The elites, if you're a PhD from Harvard, you're very likely to be a Democrat. But if you're the janitor cleaning out the classroom, you're very likely to be a Republican now.
I mean, it's just so interesting. Under Trump, the working, I love to call them working stiffs, but also it's middle income, but it's also the lower income. Those groups got a pay increase under Trump, but after inflation, they've gotten a pay cut under Biden. I'll leave that to you give you the last word, because I think, and Mr. Trump talks about that a lot, I think that's going to be major in this election.
Sure, look, it's a matter of common sense and reality. People know when they walk in the grocery store, it's a lot more expensive, and they have a lot less money than they did under Donald Trump. And I think that's going to be a huge part of this election. And Joe Biden can't give enough hyped-up speeches to cover up that reality.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Newt Gingrich, great. Good to see you. Thank you ever so much for your wisdom.